Hello everyone, I thought I would be brave and celebrate 100 subscribers by reading some of my own writing. Now, I'm going to call it a book, but it's not complete and it doesn't have a title. I've just been giving it a temporary name of Travelling with Omen. I'm going to read a bit. Let me know what you guys think. Prologue. The young girl paused her meandering stroll and listened intently. She scampered through the trees to the right of her, crunching autumnal leaves as she went. After a few meters, she stopped again. The quiet of the trees was interrupted by the usual sounds of wind rustling the leaves, birds calling, the distant footsteps of her dad walking towards home, and further off, traffic and the shouts of children just out from school. Then there was a faint and plaintive sound, a small, high-pitched squeak. The girl was off again, trying to find the source of that sound. Beside a small clump of bushes, she paused and waited once more. Once again, the small sound beckoned her. It was close. She looked at the bush beside her, crouched, listened again. She began rummaging in the bush, sticking her arms in, pushing leaves and branches aside. She had to turn her head to avoid being poked in the eye. "Yoko!" her dad called from the pavement a little way off. From beneath the bush she pulled a battered cardboard box. Inside was a skinny black cat, looking up at her with wide eyes. The cat backed itself into the corner of the box, hunched itself small, and gave her a frightened hiss. "Daddy!" The crunching of her dad's footsteps approached. "What have you got?" He peered over her shoulder and gave a quiet, "Oh." Then he crouched beside Ryoko. "It looks hungry. Shall we take it home and find some food for it?" Ryoko gave an eager nod. "It's very skinny. Maybe someone lost it. We'll have to take it to the vet once Mummy gets home." He carefully closed the flaps of the box and lifted it from the ground. They headed home, Ryoko stealing frequent glances at the box in her dad's arms as she sauntered alongside. By the time Ryoko's mom came home, the cat had been coaxed at and finally fed some chicken. It had tentatively explored the house and later allowed Ryoko and her dad to stroke it. They had all gone together to the vet, where the vet had declared it to be female and discovered that it had no microchip, so it was likely a stray. She was underweight, but otherwise healthy. They had brought the cat home again. She was now sat in Ryoko's bedroom, staring at Ryoko as the girl wiggled a bit of string in front of her. Ryoko began to think of names, speaking her suggestions aloud to the cat. "How about Blackie?" The cat blinked at her, as if to say, "Really, child, have you no imagination?" "Princess!" The cat gagged, gulped loudly, then began licking its paw. Sooty?" The cat paused her licking to stare at Ryoko with distinct disdain. Ryoko's dad entered the room and suggested Bella and Bess. The cat stuck her rear leg in the air and continued to groom. Ryoko's mum quietly sidled into the room and was now standing nervously by the door. "I don't know about this," she said. "Black cats are supposed to be a bad omen." "A bad omen? I thought they were good luck." Her dad stared at the cat for a moment before continuing, "Perhaps the two cancel out. Maybe it's just normal. Sometimes good, sometimes bad." "Are you an omen?" Ryoko asked the cat. The cat started purring and gave the young girl a head bump, smoothing herself against Ryoko's knee. "Omen!" The cat meowed. "I think she likes the name," her dad chuckled. Her mum sighed, resigning herself to the situation, and left the room. 11 years later. Chapter 1. Out on the street, dusk was falling. In the shadows of the bushes beside the pavement was a flicker of movement. In the second-hand bookshop across the street, the lights were glowing orange and inviting. Inside, Ryoko slung her bag over her shoulder and headed towards the door of the shop, calling a goodbye to her boss. Wait a minute, her boss emerged from behind the counter, muttering, "You young people, always dashing about." Louder, he said, "I've got a birthday present for you. I'll just go and get it." He shuffled through the doorway behind the counter into the stock room. A few moments later, he emerged again, holding a rectangular package wrapped in brown paper. "Is that, by any chance, a book?" Ryoka grinned at him. Graham grinned back, his eyes crinkling. "Happy 18th birthday, Ryoka. This book is special, and I thought it would be treasured by you far more than any customer." "Thank you, Graham. You really didn't have to. Is it okay if I take it home and open it tomorrow?" "Of course, my dear. Have a lovely birthday." She tucked the package carefully into her bag and left the shop with a small tinkle of the bell over the door. She walked down the street to where she had parked her car. The shadows by the hedge moved to follow. Chapter 2. Though she said she'd save the present until tomorrow, the more Ryoko stared at the brown package sat on her desk, the less she could resist. After eating dinner, she gave in. Graham would never know she didn't wait. Inside the paper was an old leather-bound book with creases in the spine from previous readings. The cover and spine were plain, and there was no obvious author or title. Inside there was no sign of these things either, and the very first page jumped right into a story. It was handwritten on thick, yellowing paper, and occasionally adorned by splashes of ink or a slight smudge. The lack of all the things a normal book should have, title, author, a copyright page, description, a publisher, just made Ryoko even more curious. The handwriting seemed to change continuously, and there were several crossings out, as if the story was hurriedly recorded. The language was old and at times difficult to understand. As Ryoko began reading the first page, Omen came over from the bed and jumped up on her lap to have a sniff at the book. "Graham gave it to me for my birthday," Ryoko explained to the cat. She had developed a habit talking to the cat as though she were a person over the years. "He said it was special. It is very odd. There's no details about who wrote it or where it came from. It's obviously valuable, so why did no one put their name on it? There's not even a date." She turned the page. "It seems to be a fantasy story. It started off with a girl born in a magical place. Maybe that's why Graham thought I'd like it, since I was born in the middle of an ancient forest." Ryoko could remember play-acting as a child that she was the heroine saving the elves and pixies of the forest from an evil enemy. She figured most people probably did this, but the stories her parents told her of how she was born in a hurry during a long car journey only added fuel to her imagination. Anyway, now it's talking about chaos growing in the shadows, spreading malice, and someone trying to fight it. It's a typical good versus evil. Omen remained sat on Ryoko's lap as she read, the cat seeming to read along with her. Ryoko got so absorbed in the writing that she stopped narrating to the cat. In the story, the world became unbalanced, with more bad than good. A powerful magical object was created for the heroine, but it had to be hidden to stop the wrong people getting hold of it. Ryoko assumed this was leading to the baddies getting the object and the goodies having to fight in an epic battle to end the story on a triumphant win. As she continued to read, using an unopened birthday card to mark her place, the light suddenly went out. She got up, hastily trying to shift Omen from her lap, and stumbled to the lamp by her bed. She felt down the wire and flicked the switch. No luck. "Oh, great, there's a power cut." Omen began to hiss and growl. Before Ryoko could react to the sudden fear that hit her, something cold wrapped around her ankle and pulled. Ryoko crashed to the floor, knocking over the lamp and hitting her elbow on the bed frame on her way down. Her ankle was suddenly released, and in the darkness came the scuffles and sounds of struggling. For a moment, Ryoko sensed a large presence hovering over her when she lay on the floor, but then it was gone again. Someone hissed, "Get the book!" which caused Ryoko to snap out of her stupor and rush towards her desk. The book was still there, sat open where she left it. She flipped it shut, pulled it off the desk, and hugged it close to her chest. Then she quietly crawled under the desk to hide. She felt fur on her ankle and heard another feline growl. Omen. Though in the darkness she seemed like a much bigger presence than she really was. There was a crash on the desk and an ominous cracking noise. With a squeak of fear, Ryoko started crawling away from the desk and towards where her bedroom door was. She had barely gone a meter when something collided with her head and her vision went black. Okay, I'm going to stop there, but let me know what you guys think. Is there anything I should change? Do you want to know what happens next? Maybe we can write this book together. Yeah, so thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, everyone who has left really lovely comments. I really do appreciate them, and I hope we can continue on this journey together.